Welcome back to the Open Mic Broadcast Network and the Locker Room with Coach Van Pettway. Coach, how you doing today, sir?
I'm doing great. It's another great day that he's given all of us, and I'm just happy that we're still here to enjoy it.
Yes, sir. We're here to enjoy it in spite of disappointing performances by one's alum, at least on my behalf.
Makes two of us, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Not a good week. I'm afraid this could be the beginning of somewhat of a downtrodden year for my Panthers, but we got to keep on fighting the good fight. I'm interested to hear some of these grades this week, sir.
Okay. Well, we'll get right into it. And we'll start off with Arkansas Pine Bluff. At Central Arkansas. Central Arkansas won that game 56-17. And our poor dear Pine Bluff, I'm going to give them a C- on this one.
I'll give them a C- as well. We kind of picked them both to lose this game. I was thinking D, but it was a slight grade up, so I'll give it a C-.
Okay. And then a game that I think we both we both didn't see coming. Jackson State at Grambling. Grambling won that game 41-20. And I'm gonna have to give Jackson State. I'm gonna have to give Jackson State a D in this one, and Grambling gets an A.
I'm giving Jackson a C because I think Grambling was just that good. I did kind of pick Grambling at the start of the season to win the West. I'm actually going to give them an A- this week, Coach. I think they did a real good job. I think they did a real good job.
Outstanding. Yep, they fooled a lot of procrastinators.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody saw that one coming. All right, then of course we had Florida A&M going down to Troy, playing up. I'm going to give Florida A&M will get a C on this one.
I gave them a C+. As you said, they did play up. Troy's a good program. Troy's a solid program. And I think for the most part, they held their own and respected the conference, or represented the conference well, I should say.
Yes. And then, of course, we had Mississippi Valley going over to Nicholls State. Nicholls won that game 66-0. I can never fail Valley, so they'll get a D. They won't get an F.
I'm giving them a D-, Coach. I just got to see a little bit more out of Valley.
Mm-hmm.
I got to see a little bit more. And I pull for them all the time. But the D- might start turning to some F+, Coach. I don't know.
Oh, I got an F weighting. I got an F weighting. In fact, we're up next. Bethune-Cookman played host to Clark Atlanta. Clark Atlanta won that game 38-7 on a 55-yard field goal at the end. And I'm sorry, but Bethune-Cookman gets an F. You don't let a Division II school that's not even at the top of their league come into your place and could come out with a win. So they get the first F of the year.
I never thought I'd hear you say it, Coach. Because I was like, ooh, that was ugly, man. That was so ugly. I was gonna give a Z, but we can only go F. So I'm with you on that one, Coach. I never saw that one coming. Never saw that one coming.
Yep, did not. All right, next up, Texas Southern and Lamar. Lamar won that game 20-17. Now, I'm gonna tell you something. Texas Southern is showing me something, and to score 17 points, and believe it or not, they led the game They led for most of this game.
Yes, sir.
Lamar had to come back and win this. I'm giving them a B-.
And see, because they were the coach, they controlled that game.
Yep.
Had a 10-0 lead at halftime, I believe it was, and I was so frustrated because, like you said, they are showing some good promise. I'm not going to give them a B. I gave them a C+ because I was disappointed. I really thought they were going to pull it off. I picked them to win that game, But they played so good and gave it up. So I gave them a C plus, man.
Right. And then of course, Alcorn State went down to McNeese State. They lost that game 42-14. Alcorn's gonna have to get a C minus out of this one.
I gave them a D, Coach, because I thought they would lose, but they've been playing them close the past few years. And the reason I gave them the F is because McNair wasn't leading the charge this time around. Mm-hmm. So I gave them a D, sir.
Okay. And then now we'll look at even. I wish we didn't have to do this, but now we'll look at our alma maters. I'll go with mine first. Alabama A&M went up to Austin Peay, and they lost that game 59-16, and it wasn't even close. Mm-hmm. We opened the game up. Our first offensive play almost was a pick six. They stopped the guy on the 1 yard line. First play of the game, interception. So I'm sorry, but I'm gonna have to give my Bulldogs a D.
You giving them a D?
Yes.
I gave them a D as well. Even though it's considered playing slightly up.
No. They're FCS.
I said slightly. I said slightly.
Yeah.
Slightly. I wasn't talking about like a group 5 or anything like that. Yeah. Because people, let's be honest, they look at the, I think it's the OVC.
Yeah, that's OVC.
Yeah, they look at them slightly different than the SWAC, for whatever illusional reasons they want to do that. But, yeah, I understand your frustration because when you hear mine for mine, you're going to probably say, okay. No, yeah. So I gave him a D, Coach. I gave him a D.
Yep. 0-3. They came in that game 0-3, so that really bothered me. All right, now to your alma mater. You played host to Southern. Southern came back and won this game 31-24. I'm going to give Southern an A because they were on the road, and I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to give your Panthers a D because I thought this game should have been the Panthers all the way.
Okay, you're a generous man. You're a generous man. I thought that my team was really struggling. I said, man, we probably got to be one of the most worst penalized teams in the league until I saw Southern. Okay, Southern is not as advanced as I thought they were. And they did win the game after Privy laid an egg. I gave Southern a C minus. Okay? I gave Southern a C minus. I gave my beloved Panthers a D minus. Okay? That's a hard pill to swallow. 12 penalties over 100 yards. Okay, and the way they just gave up, they blew a two-score lead in the second half, Coach.
Yeah.
They actually outplayed Southern. They outplayed Southern. No turnovers. They outplayed Southern. Southern won the game, executed, took advantage of some huge penalties, especially on the last drive, and then in overtime when they got to overtime, and Purvey just laid an egg, got down to the 1 yard line, and penalties themselves out of scoring for this.
Yep.
So it's a D minus, man. It's the same thing. Rinse, wash, repeat, over and over and over. Personal penalties, preset penalties, bad tackling, and not being able to execute. So, yeah, D minus. I almost gave him an F. I'm not going to exaggerate, but D minus, Coach.
Right. And then over in the MEAC, our pick of the week was Howard and Hampton. Hampton won that game 27-20. And, of course, I had Hampton. I'm sorry, I had Howard.
I was going to say, don't pencil with me, Coach. Don't pencil with me.
No. And you had Hampton, and Hampton won that game. And if I'm not mistaken, I didn't know this in the beginning, but Hampton now has won 7 straight in this series.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
yes,
so
sir.
They have dominated this series. So then that leads us up to this week, which is a very short week in the SWAC now.
Mm-hmm.
We got a very, very short schedule. A lot of teams, this is their bye week. All right, first up, Alabama State at Bethune-Cookman.
I'm going with Alabama State in this one, sir.
So am I, sir. So am I. Bethune-Cookman, they can't beat a Division II school. I don't see how they're going to beat them. Then we got Alcorn State at Mississippi Valley on a new turf, new field, first game. Mississippi Valley has sold. They are sold. They played 4 straight money games. How do you see this, sir?
I see it as a struggle. Once again, my heart bleeding for Valley. And I'm disappointed Alcorn. Until proven otherwise, Coach, I'm going to have to take Alcorn in this one.
Yeah, I'm leaning the same way. We both agree with that.
All
righty. Here we go. Jackson State at Texas Southern.
I'm going with the home team.
Yep.
I'm going with the home team. Texas Southern has shown some life. They showed some spark. And I think they're going to pull it out.
I agree with you. After Jackson State laid an egg against Grambling, I've got to go with the home team also. All right, now that leads us up to our 2 alma maters. Okay, my Bulldogs are going down to Florida A&M, where they haven't lost a game in 3 years at home. That's not going to change in my book.
Right. I'm in agreement. I'm going with FAMU as well, sir.
Okay. All right, and now with PV, they're going down to Grambling. I'm going with the G-Men.
Yes, sir. I'm in agreement with you, Coach. I know that sounds hard for me to go against my beloved boys, but Prairie View's back are not against the wall. They're pressed into the wall. No, I'm serious, Coach. I'm serious. I was saying that, they still got a chance. They split between Southern and Grambling this week, but with the way Grambling is performing and the lack of performance I'm seeing from Prairie View, I'm going to pick the G-Men. They'll play the State Fair in Dallas, Texas.
Okay. Now, over in the MEAC, we have 2 games to choose from. You got Norfolk State at North Carolina Central. You got North Carolina A&T at South Carolina State.
You know what? I'm mad at North Carolina A&T still, so I'm going to go with the Norfolk and the North Carolina Central. Yeah. See North Carolina Central, right?
Right. And I'm going all the way with Central.
Yes, sir. All the way inside out and twice on Sundays, right?
Yep.
Yeah, you're not gonna get much resistance from me on that one, Coach. It's amazing, man. Look, we had to me it seemed, I talked to some other folks, Coach, I think they still early did the basketball preseason picks. You want to run through those from the men and women's side real quick on the projection?
Okay, yes. Let me get my paperwork here. Yeah, we can do that. I was a little intrigued by some of the predictions. I'm going to start with the women. On the women's side, Grambling State was picked number 1, Southern number 2, Alabama A&M number 3, Jackson State, the 4-time defending champions, number 4, Florida A&M number 5, PV number 6, Alcorn 7, Bethune-Cookman 8th, Texas Southern 9th, Alabama State 10th, Arkansas Pine Bluff 11th, and they say Valley will close it out. On the women's side, the thing that got me, there are 2 things. Number 1, Alabama A&M, for losing all the players that they've lost, to be ranked 3rd, that means that they have a lot of faith in Coach Don Thorne. For them to be picked out of the gate 3rd in the top 4. And then for Jackson State to drop all the way to 4, I think they're being slighted.
Okay.
And the other thing that I looked at, they picked in Alabama State to finish 10th. I don't think there's any way Alabama State will finish that low. So those are the things that jumped out at. Picking Grambling number 1, I think it was a no-brainer. They got a nice squad coming back, so I'm pretty good with that.
And
how did you see it?
I saw it. I was surprised they had Prairie View picked as high as they had Prairie View in the finishing. And I'm like you. I said, "Wow, Jackson, they know something we don't know."
Right.
About what happened, and I kind of, to be honest with you, I gave where they placed Jackson because of the dominance that they had for the past few years. So it was a bit unsettling as far as I saw it.
Right. And then on the men's side, I'm gonna do it differently. I'm gonna start at the bottom. They picked Mississippi Valley 12th, Florida A&M 11th, Arkansas Pine Bluff 10th, Alabama A&M 9th, Bethune-Cookman 8th, your Prairie View Panthers are picked 7th, Alabama State's picked 6th, Alcorn is 5th, Jackson State is 4th, Southern is 3rd, Texas Southern is 2nd, and the G-men of Grambling were picked to win it all again. And on the men's side, I'm pretty good with that.
Yeah, I was like that. And I'll be honest with you, I was surprised that they had Prairie View at the 7th spot. Because, they didn't make the tournament last year.
Yeah, that's true. And then Coach Smith, I saw his interview. He says he has a lot of new faces, and what they're doing now is trying to get those young men indoctrinated to the culture that he has there. And I know when he speaks of culture, he's talking about the defensive side of the ball. So that was interesting. But I don't have a problem with the order that they put the men in, because I do think that Grambling has the best chances of winning this thing. And then, of course, you can never count out Johnny Jones and Texas Southern.
No, sir. And I like the consistency, believe it or not, that Southern brings to the table as well.
Right. Yeah, Coach Johnson is doing a great job down there at Southern. And then, of course, at Alabama State, Coach Matlock, he's gotten them in there. Now, Alcorn being 5th, I don't know about that one now. Alcorn has proven over the last 4 or 5 years that the defense wins games. And I think they might have went to sleep on Alcorn.
Well, the problem I have with Alcorn, they can't finish. They can't win when it counts.
Right.
Toward the back stretch of the season and the tournament play, they just kind of fade away, man.
Yeah, and then, of course, we all know that the tournament is in Atlanta. That's going to be a very expensive trip for all of our teams. And everything's at the airport. The arena that they're playing in is at the airport, and normally in most cities, that's your high-cost area.
Yes, sir. Well, they say they're going to have to make some slight adjustments, save a few cans. Do they even still let you fill your cans, Coach? I don't even know. You might have to look into that, man. Collecting bottles. I know bottles is a rarity these days. I used to make a quick hustle on Wham Whams and Zuzus, man, collecting bottles. But it's a lost art, sir. Just like everything else, time brings about a change. So, and Coach, I'm trying to be diplomatic on how I say this, because I don't want to disrespect the game. When is a good time, you think, to release something like this? Because it seemed like it wasn't promoted or highlighted. I know they had it on the digital network, but it seemed like the time was off this year with the presentation for the basketball stuff.
Right. Even to me, there seemed like there was something missing. I was in on both days. I was never able to raise my hand for some reason. Either I'm challenged, but I never found a feature where I could raise my hand. I attempted to come in and ask questions on for several teams, but I was never able to get in. So I just think that because they did bring everybody to one spot, I think that was the difference. That was the difference. So yeah, I agree with you. It was there was something missing. And then here's the other thing: the host that they had this time, instead of staying on schedule, he just moved to the next person. And to me, that took away from media from a certain area. They already had a time that their coach was coming on, but by the time their time reached, their coach was gone. So I think that took away from some. I thought they should have stayed on script, stayed with the actual time frame, and you probably would have had more questions from the media, because really there was only one person that was asking all the questions. Yeah, and I think a lot of that had to do with that they got off script. I mean, they when one coach finished early, they just moved on to the next coach instead of waiting to the designated time. I think that had a lot to do with it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, I guess that's why they have them where you can go back and watch it if you can't get it live. But like you say, for that interactive part. But we'll see how things go. So before you know it, we'll have these basketball games racking in. And I know you've been hearing about the latest resurgence of the Pac-12 with the way they're revamping this thing. And from the way it looks to me, Coach, I know football is king. This could end up being a pretty decent basketball conference now, too.
Right, but here's the thing. You got a lot of schools that are turning the Pac-12 down now.
Oh, I understand that.
Right. So it's going to be interesting to see what teams they actually get in. So I'm going to hold my opinion until they actually come up with a good group, because
I think now
when it comes to television rights, they're not going to get a good contract because you don't have any football powers coming in there.
Right, but that's why I was saying more of a basketball approach, because the latest that I've heard, Gonzaga is possibly considering strong to go to the Pac-12, and then UNLV and Utah State. Now, they're looking at UNLV and Utah State as football power, but could be a pretty decent basketball power when you consider the other programs coming involved.
Right, but I thought it was my understanding that UNLV turned them down. I think that's the latest. I have to.
Right, I think the big discrepancy was, would UNLV separate themselves from their sister school in the state, Nevada?
And they said no.
Right, and so it's interesting. And then there's possibility. I think Colorado
State is the one.
But no, Air Force. That's what I was thinking about. Okay. Air Force is up there in Colorado. They're going back and forth, and I think the AAC is trying to get them to join. It's all over the place, man. But do you think it would be enough movement for them to be respected as a quote-unquote big boy?
No. They have gone from a Power 5 conference to just a conference. They have lost all their luster and shine. They will not get a television contract that's worth anything for football. They don't have any drawing power. There's no drawing power with the teams that they're looking at right now.
Okay.
Yep.
I think they were talking about something worked out with a CW, more of a kind of a regional type deal, even though CW is not worldwide, but nationwide with its reach, and that it's a free air broadcasting.
Correct, but you talk about, in order to get the dollars that they're looking for, you need that national vibe, and they're not getting that with that. They would be more regional than national, and that has always hurt the Pac-12. Even when they were at full strength with USC and California, because they played so late and because they didn't have the big national contract, they were always seen as the underdog. And now it's even worse than that with the powerhouses leaving that conference.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I've never been moved by the West Coast style. To me, they always had good quarterbacks come from the West Coast. but it never really moved me. I was born in the Midwest, so I'm serious. I had more influence by the Big Eight, some Big Ten, but I didn't too much care for Big Ten. Big Ten style of play was just too lethargic for me, even though Ohio State and Michigan had always ruled the top. But, being an old Missouri boy, I just stayed in the Big Eight. Then it grew to the Big 12. And, who doesn't pay attention to the SEC? And to me, I always looked at ACC more like at basketball. Clemson and Florida State has had their run, but they never really moved my needle.
Right, and speaking of Missouri, your Missouri Tigers are doing pretty good this year.
Yeah, luck of the draw.
Yeah.
Look, they struggled against Vanderbilt. They were number 7. They got dropped to number 11. But someone was asking me, man, I said, anytime Missouri can be in the top 25 or anything, it's a good year for me. So we'll ride this way. We'll come back to reality after this year. But I'm gonna enjoy it for the time that I can. Right. So look, Coach, we got these games that we're starting to get into conference play, where they're going to mount up and matter even more.
Yep.
And hopefully, I can weather the storm this weekend, Coach. Hopefully.
Yep. Well, we both are looking at that. Speaking of storm, right now the FAMU game is up in the air because of the storm.
Right.
That's hitting the Florida coast. So
yes,
that's
sir.
supposed to hit the Florida coast. So we're still waiting because I was scheduled to make that trip, and right now our trip is on hold. A lot of the A&M alum are already canceling reservations and stuff. So even if they continue to play this game, they're not going to have the following that was planned to be in Tallahassee.
Yes, sir. Now, they haven't mentioned a contingency plan about possibly relocating or rescheduling?
Right. Well, they're talking about it's going to have to be a relocate because I don't think their schedules are going to allow them to play it another time.
Okay.
So I think relocation is going to be the key, whether they can find another spot in the state of Florida, or I would hope that they would just flip-flop and bring the game to Huntsville.
That's what I was thinking. You bring it to Huntsville and then you kind of double up or something, or try to make it right?
Correct. That's what I would see, but we're still waiting to hear what the final outcome is going to be.
Okay, well, we'll keep an ear to the ground as well, and we'll spread that word just as soon as we get it. Coach, want to give you some closing thoughts and comments as we wrap up this week's session.
Right. The locker room is a great place because you hear a lot of things, and I'm just proud to be a part of the locker room, and I will encourage you to continue doing what you're doing, sir.
Well, sir, we couldn't have the locker room if it wasn't for you. So we thank you for being a part of it. As they say, keep on keeping on. Look, how about this, Coach? I pray for your Bulldogs. You pray for my Panthers. And maybe the Lord can change some things for us, man.
That's a done deal, sir.
He is the guru, Coach Van Pettway. I'm the radio guy, Dr. Mike Prince. Reminding you guys, you can follow me on Twitter, X, at The Mike Prince Show. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at the Open Mic Broadcast Network. Don't forget, you can visit the website at obnradio.com. With all that being established, until the next time, you all be blessed, and we'll see you on the other side.